Games Partnerships team. Number one is continuing to manage a pretty amazing web-based platform, but we won't be talking about it today because it's the Mobile Growth Summit. Something to know about me is that when it comes to games discovery, it's been the thing that I really have cared about my entire life and have worked on for my entire adult life. At about the age of 20, I went to become a games journalist, which was a bit like joining the circus. Dropped out of school to do that. Never really looked back. As you're going to see in a minute, I've been working on matching people to games that they're going to care about for a long, long time, and I intend to be doing it for a long, long time to come. Which is a long way of saying that Facebook really does care about this question. And this question is getting sort of more and more acute as the number of games and the number of people who want to play them remain massive, while the connecting bridge to discovering and matching is small and pretty choked. So I wanted to kick off this summit by talking about what's next for games coming from Facebook, because we realize it's an important moment in this fast evolving history of games, and we have a big obligation to help. Let's start by talking about something that is not evolving. In 1983, we had the Apple IIe unboxed in my house. I was a little kid and a pretty psyched one. As I started to experience things like Karateka and Hardball, I wanted to know where I could find out about some more of these games, some more of these titles. And back then, the only way you could do it was to come home from the computer store with generally a trade paperback book that looked a lot like this one. I'll tell you that I spent a lot of time leafing through these books as a kid, reading capsule summaries of these Apple IIe games, looking at black and white screenshots, and deciding to buy quite a number of them. But what's happened is, over the course of, well, too many years than I want to recount right now, since, things haven't really changed when it comes to discovery, despite the incredible change in the games themselves. In 2004, I was an editor of this magazine, PC Gamer, and we were still doing basically what Cybex, the game publishing company, was doing in 1983. That is, picking the games we thought were interesting and sticking them somewhere for our audience to browse through. Now, the good news is this was occasionally an awesome way to find games. I certainly like to think so. The magazines were useful, but they were certainly not comprehensive. They were not definitive. And if you didn't share the tastes of Dan Morris of PC Gamer magazine, you might not find a terrific game out there in the market that might have had your name on it. IGN and other websites kind of broadened the audience for this type of editorial creation, but they didn't really make it any smarter. It was no more intelligently matched for you or personalized for you. Now, finally today, we've got Facebook. We think about Facebook as a macro opportunity for solving this personalization challenge. Today, I would argue the magazines have basically been replaced by app stores. And ironically, some of my former colleagues from PC Gamer magazine and IGN and places like that are now the editorial staff of the app stores. There's good news there. These are long-time, experienced games journalists who pick awesome stuff. And we've all had the great experience of being delighted by an app store. But the app stores are still no more personal. Facebook has a macro opportunity to help with that. I'm gonna list a few of the macro details that make us so excited about that opportunity. Number one, every month, 375 million people play a Facebook Connect game. That's obviously a healthy percentage of the total number of gamers on the planet. So we have a terrific footprint in terms of people playing a game that they have connected to the social graph. Login, people choosing to connect their real identity to a game, is available in 83% of the top grossing mobile games today. This is usually a surprising stat for people. When I was working at DNA, a very big mobile game publisher, a few years ago, we never considered attaching Facebook login to our games. Wouldn't hear it, wouldn't take the meeting. Because our assumption was that especially in the core high LTV games we were publishing, Facebook and the connection of your real identity was actually anathema. This has actually been proven to be a bad assumption over time. And at this moment, 83% of the top grossing games make available the explicit login of your Facebook identity. And then the thing that we're probably best known for and celebrated for in the mobile game space is the thing I'm actually not going to talk to you about very much today, which is our paid install channel. That's because you guys are mobile user acquisition experts and you know all about it. I won't even bore you with the stats. We've driven hundreds of millions of game installs with this product. It's been terrific for us, it's been terrific for a lot of games companies, and it's been terrific for Facebook users who have had a much better way to discover ads because they're taking advantage of a lot of the personalized targeting. I think the biggest macro opportunity for us is simply our mobile DAU. And as a gathering of human beings, it is unknown in human history. I mean, every day, 745 million DAU are in Facebook's mobile app. As we start to tie all these things together, someone like me, who has been excitedly leafing through games trade paperbacks and excitedly publishing games magazines, and now very excitedly thinking about this macro opportunity for discovery at Facebook, this is an extremely exciting moment, and 2015 is going to be an extremely exciting year. So I want to talk to you a little bit about where we're coming out of as a company and the year that we're heading into, in partnership with everybody in the room. In 2014, we proved that we are the best paid user acquisition channel. And there are probably folks who will debate that, but it's really not much of a debate. Our partnership with you around UA has been spectacular. But we've heard very clear feedback from a lot of you, certainly from a lot of our big partners, that given the macro opportunity I just itemized, there probably should be more that we can do together about discovery and re-engagement. We happen to agree. So we're asking, where can we help? As a games group, where can we help above and beyond the great paid UA channel that we offer right now? The answer is probably at the very top of the funnel, where the headache for you is the largest. There are a lot of gamers who turn into a lot of installs. And Facebook has a high degree of control over that. We're starting to prove that out in the paid channel. You guys are at the same time getting better and better about how to retain and monetize as you develop games. You have a high degree over control of that, but we sure don't. We don't make games. We have very little luck picking winners. The partnership that emerges for us in the coming years is us solving some of the blockage at the very top of the funnel as you simply look for the gamers who want to play your game. And what I consider potentially tragic is that many, particularly small mobile game developers, are learning retention and monetization at the exact moment that discovery is becoming harder and harder and harder. We want to try to intelligently solve that problem. So we're looking at the top of the funnel. There are going to be three main initiatives that we look down and test out in the coming year. One is simply reaching more gamers. I hear from UA experts every day that they're spending more and more money for what feels like a diminishing pool of quality mobile game players. I just fundamentally don't believe that with 750 million mobile DAU, it needs to be so supply constrained in terms of reaching gamers. So we're going to try to find it. We're going to try to be better about finding them in our ecosystem. We're going to try to turn that into installs for you, more paths to installs for you. And finally, we want to help you monetize this data set through our audience network, which we'll talk about later. Why reaching gamers? Where do we find them? We have a theory of Facebook that we're starting to test right now. We call a population of people needy gamers because what we've noticed is that people who are interested in mobile games are really interested in mobile games. There's casual breakout hits all the time, but there are also committed game players like me, who has been underserved on mobile devices for a long time, who would go down the rabbit hole of discovery if I had a delightful way to do it. The app stores kind of teach us this. The appeal of an app store is pretty universal for a mobile game player. So we just want to find a content-hungry player and then just show them more games, and to do it programmatically. So what we're going to try is digging deep into the different kinds of data that we gather and start to draw the insight, you are a needy gamer, hungry for content, and then give that discovery to you. So we're looking at, obviously, how you use feed. We're looking at your pages and likes data, everything we know about what you're interacting with on Facebook. And now with mobile app events, which is our way of letting you as developers tag different events in your game post-install to give us intelligence about what the acquired user is actually doing downstream. We can fuse all this, and from it we hope to determine the likelihood of someone being a needy gamer, a content-hungry player who actually wants a bunch of game discovery to come at them through Facebook. If we can glean this insight, and we think we can, we're then going to have an action to take, which is more games content for those people. Not just the occasional added feed, but more games content. So what might that look like? We're Facebook, so we're all about precise charts and graphs. We just want to drive referrals into your games, to do it at scale across this macro opportunity. Because if you succeed, we'll succeed. We will find ways to make money together. We have no doubt about that. We're going to take on 3 specific experiments to try to drive more mobile games referrals to you. One, which I'll go into in a bit more detail here in a moment, is called GameRanker. GameRanker is simply our recommendation model for game recommendations. Now, Facebook has been recommending games for a long, long time. For as long as we've had a web platform, we've been recommending games. But we're now starting to really dig deep into a set of experiments to optimize for what we call quality. And quality doesn't mean Dan Morris or some other editor thinks it's a cool game. Quality means we predict, based on everything we know about you, that you're likely to want to try this game out. Personalized and predictive recommendations is what our recommendation model is increasingly going to be all about. And that's not just built around your propensity to install. It's going to be built on a whole set of questions. What is your likelihood to remain in the game? What is your likelihood to spend money in the game? Which is a pretty good proxy indicator for you enjoying it, and so on. And these are experiments we hope to run with many of you. If GameRanker could be turned into a highly efficient game recommendation model at scale, then the next question for us is, where do we surface these recommendations? So another initiative of ours this year is going to be new surface areas for games, one of which I'll show you here in a minute. Once you understand the needy gamers and their desire to really see a lot of game content, then a new surface area for games makes a lot of sense. There are many ways we could go with this. We're going to try a lot of things. You're going to see our first shipped version of this, but the key insight here is featuring units that are optimized. When I say optimized, I really mean personalized for you. We hope this will all lead into installs, and here's how. Because growing installs is really the goal. So what is GameRanker doing? GameRanker has been tested on our web platform. We deployed it in the late summer, and it has worked on the web. It is growing the installs from our recommendations channels on our web platform. The same algorithm, the same model, is going to be increasingly trained on our mobile games ecosystem as well. The total quality score that we're driving toward in our next steps for GameRanker is, again, an individualized, personalized prediction or projection of what game X and user Y are likely to result in. This kind of matching is meant to be highly intelligent and highly useful to game developers for sure. This is going to be applied to our ads channel, as you would expect and probably hope it to be. The smarter the ad channel, the better your ability to go into our marketplace and go into our auctions and bid successfully and earn gamers for yourself, making marketing dollars more and more and more efficient in the mobile channel. And finally, when you start to hear from people on my team about app events, I really hope you take the meeting and seriously consider integrating the app events, because our ability to make these predictions and projections ends at the install. It's still going to be pretty darn good up to the point of the install. But insofar as we can share through app events, tied to the user ID, a picture of what's happening post-install, then GameRanker can become very intelligent about making these matches. Surface area is an important question, and one that I personally spent a lot of time working on and thinking about at Facebook. There's a big challenge on on a handset, which is limited entry points for anything. I mean, newsfeed is crowded with an awful lot of potential stories you could see, and a fierce competition happening among all those intelligent tiny robots in the system to decide what you really want to see in your feed. We actually kind of want to solve that by breaking out of that the games content for gamers, the needy gamers who really want to dive deep. So what we'd love to do is take the signal from you as a user that you actually want to step aside into a deeper games discovery experience and then give it to you, thereby expanding organic discovery, by which we mean not paid. So I want to show you, if you haven't seen this already, on your iPad, we shipped last month a new surface area for games, and it looks a lot like this. This is my buddy drumming, but on the right-hand side, in landscape mode, is a new content tab. And this sidebar doesn't move. It's there all the time while you're in landscape mode in Facebook's app. And you can see that at the top, this My Games section is offering an entry point back into a mobile game that you've been playing and enjoying recently. In my case, 2 dots. Love that game. There's also a recommendation section, which you'll notice at the bottom of this feed, which is our programmatically determined recommendation system for you to find new content to try. This is our first experiment. We've shipped it to 100% of iPad users. It's obviously our observation that the iPad has been a particularly sticky games device, and I don't have to tell you that that's where a lot of the value in terms of microtransactions is living right now. So this is our first concrete step and shipped product that is trying to land this surface area in front of gamers. The last thing we're really working on is taking all of this data and making it available to you to help monetize your games through ads. So our Audience Network is the way we do that. Audience Network is an SDK. It's actually part of our base SDK that allows you to draw on our data and our ad content to populate your inventory. And it's been going very well. When we launched this thing, since launching, we have tripled the number of people who have signed up for it. We've quadrupled the number of impressions that we're serving, and the ads themselves are powered by our data, that same data that powers our mobile app install ads. So we want to make this available off the shelf, out of the box, to anyone who's got ad inventory in their game to start taking advantage of the data that we're powering. So these are early steps, and there's a lot for us to solve in the coming year and years. But the main message that I want to give you guys is that we're trying to think holistically across Facebook's ecosystem about all the ways that we can steer installs to you, and re-engagement for that matter. So we are on the case, and the games team at Facebook, which has traditionally and understandably been considered a web platform, is actually spinning hard toward taking advantage of our deep learning and our huge macro opportunity to try to make mobile games discovery that much more personalized, that much more evolved, and worthy of the incredible number of awesome games that you guys are developing and publishing. And that's about that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day. If I don't know you, I would love to. So come follow up with me and find me. The Facebook Games team is at your service. Thanks.